Hello and welcome to the Downsized Dish. This is our weekly platform where we talk to people who are on GLP-1 medications and talk about their journeys. GLP-1 medications are things like Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro, compounded Tirzepatide, and semaglutide. And I'm your host, Laraine Durham. I've lost over 50 pounds on compounded Tirzepatide. And it's my goal to share success stories of other people, how they've used these medications to lose weight. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, The Downsized. Today we're talking to Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Welcome.
Hey, Lorraine. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Lisa, tell us about yourself.
So I am 57. I always have to think about that because in my brain, I'm 28 and will forever
Same.
be 28. So I always have to really think about my age. But in actuality, don't tell anyone I am 57.
It's our secret.
Yes, thank you. And all the other people that just listened. I do live in New York City. My family and I recently relocated here about a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Before that, we spent 30 plus years, or I should say, I spent 30 or so plus years in Kansas City. My husband is originally from there. I'm originally from Wisconsin. We met in college. I moved. And like I said, we were there and raised our two older children there and then our two younger children who are still at home with us. We have 15-year-old twins. So
Oh,
they're
wow.
here with us in New York. And yeah, it's been quite an adventure. I guess that's about me as a person. Would you?
Yeah. What part of New York City do you live in?
We live in Manhattan in the Upper East Side, and it's a very different lifestyle. We really enjoy it. We took about a month, a couple of years ago, we rented an apartment for a month just to do a test run, see if,
Yeah.
because as living in North Carolina or pretty much anywhere where you're in a suburban area, living there is a very different life than living in a big city. We
For
sold
sure.
rid of our cars. If we need groceries, we have to either walk or take an Uber or things like that. Yeah, we wanted to test what it was like to live that lifestyle for more than just 5 days in a hotel room, which isn't really real life. So,
Right.
yeah, so we did. But yeah, I will say grocery shopping is definitely a challenge at times.
Do you have a full-size fridge or do you have a little one or how's that work?
No, yeah, we have a full size fridge. I will say I really miss my garage refrigerator and freezer. So we'll go to Costco or Sam's somewhat frequently. We'll rent a car and go, and coming home and putting the groceries away is at least an hour to an hour and a half adventure because it's Tetris. It's literally trying to play Tetris especially in the freezer. I find that's where I struggle the most. The refrigerator's kind of fine. So we've talked about maybe getting another, like a little secondary one or something. But yeah, that part is hard because I'm just used to shopping at Costco and Sam's and stuff. And
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to buy healthier things, and it's much cheaper to do that even here in New York than obviously going to just a little grocery store down the street and spending $10 a pound on grapes.
Yeah, I guess it's much more expensive. I guess you also probably get a lot of walking in. You probably get a lot of steps in. That's good.
Yeah, there's definitely trade-offs there. Yeah, I definitely get more steps in, although yeah, I work from home. Unfortunately, even during the week, sometimes I'm not great about getting out. I feel like I should get out more when you live in a city like this. But yeah, without a car, you're at the very least walking to some kind of public transportation and then from wherever you get off at that public transportation.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I've always wanted to live in New York City. Christopher and I looked at moving there a long time ago and decided that the suburbs were probably the place we needed to stay in for a while. Maybe someday, but that sounds great. It sounds like a big adventure, as I'm sure you're finding out. So tell us about your weight loss journey.
Like most of us, it started many years ago. I remember going on my first diet when I was 13. It was like, I remember it was the summer of my 13th year, and I didn't know much at that time. I just watched what I ate. I don't think I was really counting calories and was successful, lost some weight, and that was great. And
Yeah.
then did the very consistent dieting and Again, I think like most of us that grew up in at least high school wise, like in the 80s, did the cabbage soup diet. And I'm trying to think what else I did like during high school, but pretty much anything. I got to college. I did OptiFast actually,
Oh, wow.
which was the
The
program that,
shakes, right?
that Oprah did.
Yeah.
So when she pulled out the whatever, how many pounds of fat, which she can't stand that she did now, which I totally get,
Yeah.
she did that same program. I was not as successful as Oprah, but yeah, that was hard. It's hard to just drink. It really, that's
Yeah.
rough.
I like
Uh,
chewing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would not say I was super compliant on that particular
Gotcha.
adventure. But yeah, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done Jenny Craig, I've done Weight Watchers again, and again, like you, I'm not a lifetime member. I did the last time I did Weight Watchers was the last time I lost a decent amount of weight, which was back in really during lockdown. So like I started pretty much right at lockdown, like March of 2020, and was successful in that. But yeah, like I said, and everything in between. We had a program in Kansas City called Slim for Life, which was a it was really a low carb. I would say it was very sort of Atkins like. They also sold a lot of supplements and
Yeah.
bars and things that they wanted you to buy. But I've done Atkins. I haven't done keto. That was the one thing that I
Oh,
never
yeah.
really, that I never really did. But yeah, it's been up and down and lots of things in between. And once I hit menopause, like I said, I lost probably 40 or so pounds. I didn't get down to where I am now during that, like I said, 2020 kind of time period. And then it just,
Crept back up.
yep.
Yeah.
Just,
So what medication is working for you now?
so I take compounded Tirzepatide just like you. I'm currently on 5 milligrams. Because I'm at goal now, I don't anticipate obviously going up like you. I'm trying to figure out now where I go from here and
Yeah.
how I do maintenance. I'm waiting to talk to my provider so I can go through that process. But yeah, it's been amazing. I cannot believe that this is now available to people. And it just, and I don't even think I realized, we all talk about the food noise and things like that. I don't even
Hmm.
think I really, in fact, I think the first time I heard somebody say that in a video, I was like, what are they talking about? And then I heard this, I'm like, oh, yeah, I absolutely have that. It's constant, right?
Right.
Breakfast. What are we going to have for lunch? What are we, oh, should I have eaten that? Should I have not eaten? Oh, no, now I blew my diet. So now I'm going to have to start next Monday because, you got to start on a Monday.
Right. How much
It's
weight have you
never just
lost
okay to
altogether?
start tomorrow.
The
Just
next
get back
meal.
on the horse the next
Yeah.
meal. Right. Yeah. It's always got to be a Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. I was on 2.5. Actually, I'm like you. I'm a spreadsheet girl. I'm a tracker.
Yay. Yeah.
I guess I was on 2.5 for 5 or 6 weeks. I did a couple weeks where I went to 3.75 because I tried 5 milligrams for a week and was like deathly ill. I
Oh,
just spent 3 or 4 days of that week so nauseous and not being able to eat anything. I was like, okay, maybe I should back off of that a little bit.
yeah.
And that's what's
Yeah.
so great about the compounded version, right? Is that,
You can just adjust it.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I'm sure is one of the reasons why Lilly and Novo Nordisk maybe don't want to release the vials is I'm not sure they trust some of us to dose
And I guess
appropriately.
we should put the disclaimer in there that we're not doctors or medical professionals. This is just our personal experience, and consult with your doctor if you feel like you want to go up or down in dose. So you were on the 2.5. The 5 made you feel sick. So you went back down. You adjusted to 3.75, which is a dose I
Well,
haven't
yeah,
heard anyone say before.
I went actually back down to 2.5 for
Back down
like
to 2.
another 2 weeks.
Uh
And
huh.
then I thought, okay, given my experience, I
Oh,
don't
then
know
you
that I
tried.
want to go directly to the 5 again. So yeah, I
Yeah.
did 2 weeks of 3.75 and then I went up to the 5.
And how much did you lose altogether?
So as of yesterday morning, which was my weigh-in day, I'm down 41 pounds. My goal was 40, but also like you, my goal has changed. So
Yeah.
when I started, and it really came from the being postmenopausal and honestly not knowing where I could get to. The weight
Yeah.
I'm at now is the weight that I was at for a very about 15 years or so, where I was very comfortable. I would sometimes gain 10 pounds, but then very easily lose it, that kind of thing. But I just didn't know, okay, you're 57 now, Lisa. You're not 35. And so maybe your body just won't want to be that weight. But so 150 was my initial goal. Started at 183.8, although I was a little bit higher when I first got into the process, like when I filled out my paperwork by a few
Hmm.
pounds. Was trying to do my best to prep a little bit before I got
Right.
on medication. So I think I
Right.
lost a little water weight in there. So I say I started at 183.8, got down to 150 and knew as I was getting close to it that I would probably want to go down to closer to where I felt generally more comfortable. And I felt like I would be able to attain that. And 143.8 is a weird number, but like Christopher, I like very round numbers. It
Yeah.
was 40 pounds.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. But
How tall are you, Lisa?
also like you, I have shrunk a little. I used to be closer to 5'7", but now I am just a smidge over 5'6". So I
Gotcha.
say I'm 5'6".
Yeah. Yeah, that shrinking is awful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome. I think I started 10 pounds heavier than you, and now I think I'm 143 point something this morning. So that's interesting. And it's almost like I want to give myself a little bit more of a buffer. Like maybe I just
Yeah.
want to, just in case I start to inch up again, I can have a little wiggle room to play around with.
Yeah, I said the
Yeah.
same thing actually when I filmed which I guess was last week, my last check-in, and it hit my goal. I said, but I think I might lose maybe another 2, 3 pounds, like maybe get down to 140, which
Yeah.
is another round number.
Right. And you have a YouTube channel. Let's talk about your YouTube channel. What's the name of it?
I do. It's called A Little Less Lisa. Thank you. And yeah, so I I've been a content creator in another niche for a little while, and I felt like I wanted to be able to share this journey, but I just didn't really feel like it was appropriate on that channel. So I started this second channel, and yeah, it's going really well. And for the most part, I get pretty kind feedback every once in a while. I'm sure you guys have experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
You get a troll here and there, but
Yeah.
I didn't know for sure that I was going to share. Like I filmed the very first day I gave my first shot, and I remember
Wow.
saying even in the clip, okay, I don't know that this is ever going to be seen by anyone other than my iPhone camera.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, I just didn't know if it would work for me. And so I didn't share. I think my first video was when I was at week 5. I had lost, according to my sheet here, about 16, 17 pounds, somewhere in there. And I was like, okay, this is working. This is good. So let me share. Not that it certainly would be valuable to share if things were not working, right? I think that's just as valuable for people to understand in this
Yeah.
whole spectrum of how people lose. And there are obviously people who are very slow responders. I don't know if I would call myself a hyper or a super responder, but yeah, I did lose it pretty quickly.
Would you say you lost more than 1 or 2 pounds a week, or was that about your average?
Yeah, so let's see. I should have done this math. It When I hit goal last week, I think it averaged like 2.6 pounds or something per week.
That's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it honestly, in hindsight, I think is a little faster than maybe I should have lost, but
Yeah, 1 to 2 pounds a week, I think, is average. So if you're a little bit above that, I mean, did you experience any other side effects? Some people talk about hair loss or anything like that.
so that just hit actually 2 weeks ago. I got out of the shower and I mean, it was literally just clumps.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. But I do feel like I've done a very good job during my journey of keeping up my protein. But I think just your body, when you lose weight that rapidly, it goes through a shock. I know a lot of people who have gastric bypass or anything, they experience, I think, a similar thing because, again, it's so fast. People should know that it's not a result of taking the drugs. It's
Just a result of the fast weight loss.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
faster-ish. Yeah.
So, yeah, it has nothing to do with the drugs, just the Ozempic face kind of thing. It's just a matter of rapid weight loss, not the actual medication. But
Are you taking anything to help with the hair loss, or have you found any products that you like for that?
it just started. So I
Just
did,
started.
again, I thought I was doing a fairly good job of trying to take things prophylactically
Yeah.
to hopefully combat it, but clearly not enough. I was taking collagen. I had started taking some biotin, although I've recently found out that biotin actually doesn't help hair growth. It actually, from my understanding, I, again, not a doctor, certainly could be wrong, but that it prolongs the growth phase so that your hair
Huh.
will grow longer when you're taking biotin, but it doesn't actually stimulate hair follicles to grow, or if they've stopped growing, whatever.
Yeah.
I am taking a minoxidil product now. I take it orally because I don't wash my hair every day, and putting like oil or foam or whatever, that was
Yeah.
not going to work. So I take that supplement, and I just invested in a hair max, which is a laser treatment that you do. So it's like sort of looks like almost like a crown. I don't know.
Oh.
It's this contraption. You put it on your head,
Uh-huh.
and it's super quick. It's you move it like it's like front and then the middle and then back here. 30-second sessions. So it's 90 seconds total. It's super fast. You do it 3 times a week. And I've had a couple people, I mentioned it in one of my recent videos, and somebody in the comments, "This is so funny. I actually have my hair max on while I'm watching the video."
Hair
And she
max.
said
I'll have
she's
to look
had
at that.
great results. And I follow some people on YouTube who have had some really great results from it as well, who I trust pretty implicitly as well. So
Is it like a red light therapy, or?
yeah, so it's the appropriate wavelength and frequency and whatever that stimulates your hair follicles. So I'm hoping that between being very gentle with my hair and taking the minoxidil and using the hair max,
Yeah.
that at least I will start seeing the regrowth. Like I said, it was scary to see it come out, but
Yeah.
I also know that's a temporary thing. So
Yeah. Okay. I'm very intrigued by that. I'll have to I'll have to check into that. Let's see. Did you change the things that you're eating? What are some of your go-to meals that you like to do?
yeah, I mean, I definitely 100% changed the way I eat. And I would say, again, I think in those sort of 4 or 5 days, because I didn't know like when exactly my medication was going to arrive, I tried to start making some of those changes even beforehand. Obviously, protein is a must. I've always been a pretty good water drinker, so that wasn't necessarily something that I had to, but really focusing on protein, I try to get anywhere between, really my goal is like around 100. I minimum, want to hit 80.
Yeah.
So like I said, really focus on that. Eat quite a few eggs. I'm one of those people who, like, when you start eating something, I kind of stick with it.
Yeah.
So for some reason, egg salad sounded really good to me one day. And so I've just been boiling eggs like no other and making egg salad. And so I may eat it plain. I may eat it on a slice of that Dave's.
It's killer bread.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
The
I
thin
love
sliced
that.
one, and I'll put some avocado on it first, and then the egg salad. Try to get some healthy fats in. And lately I've been sprinkling it with a little bit of everything but the bagel seasoning, which just makes everything taste better.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah. And yeah, so like I said, a lot of protein. We used to do some of those like meal service
Yeah.
thing. So I would, and usually has a really good protein source, and I would just pass on or maybe eat one or two little potatoes, something like that. But really focused on protein. I wouldn't say that I'm the best person at getting the calories in that I probably need, which unfortunately is probably what led to a little more
I hear
rapid
you.
weight loss and
Yeah. Oh,
probably
yeah.
hair loss.
Yeah.
This medicine has really worked for me as far as appetite suppression, and appetite suppression, not just from the standpoint of I don't feel hungry, so then I don't go get something to eat. But in addition to that, for me, honestly, 4 or 5 bites of a chicken breast and I'm done.
You're done. Yeah.
So it's been really hard. I just discovered and have started and love it's a clear protein, because even with protein shakes, which I do drink, I really like the Fairlife, the 30-gram
Mhm.
one. And I've, since 2020, have always had a Premier Protein in my coffee in the morning. That's how I make
Oh, yeah.
my protein coffee. But I'd found that when I was maybe, I was still missing 30 grams or something, and I would drink that Fairlife, it still felt pretty heavy to me. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it was somebody on TikTok, gotta love TikTok, uh, who was talking about this clear protein. And I thought, well, I'm fine drinking plain water. I used to flavor my water a lot with Mio back in the day.
Yeah.
But I thought, flavored water would be good. And so it's called Seek, I think is what it's called, SEQ. But it's a clear protein. I ordered just like a sample pack because I don't know about you, but the last thing I want to do is spend $60 on a tub of protein that I
Right.
never ate.
Yeah.
So I ordered it, came, I think, with 5 or 6 different flavors, just a single packet. And I found the 2 or 3 that I really liked and then ordered those. So that's been really helpful. And I'm hoping that will also then increase my calories while I'll do that too. So
Yeah, it's so hard to get the protein in when you really don't feel like eating anything. And I totally get what you're saying. Like sometimes I'll take a couple bites and be like, "Oh, this is going to be it for me today." And then you're like, "But how am I going to get to this protein goal if I can't eat more than 4 or 5 bites of my chicken?" So I think the protein supplements are a great way to get that in, like you've discovered. So that's good job, Lisa.
I'm a work in progress.
Yeah. Do you do any exercise? Do you work out? What do you do on that line?
I do. In the beginning, I just really focused on walking. But then again, I realized that strength training was really going to need to be my focus. I was doing just some kind of things on my own. And then recently I've started using an app that guides you through, it's 4 days a week and
Yeah.
guides you through different workouts. We are lucky we have a gym in our building actually. So there's no excuse for me not
No
to go.
excuse.
I
Just
don't
go right
even have to
downstairs.
go. Don't even have to go into the elements. So
Yeah.
yeah, super easy. It's nothing fancy. It's certainly not like it's not like a full blown gym, but it has all the dumbbells that I need and it's got some cable machines and things. I'm able to do what I need to do. I'm obviously not looking to become Miss Olympus or
Right.
whatever, but I definitely do want to increase my muscle mass because, obviously one, it helps in fuel your metabolic rate in the future. But
Yes.
two, it's so, so important as we age to maintain that muscle mass. And, it helps with bone density. I mean, it's just that sort of higher weights, lower reps is something that I'm really focusing on. I think for years, not that I was like worried about getting too big or something, but I think just maybe naturally as women, we think lower weights, higher reps is what I think we're at least my age
Told.
was sort of
Yeah.
trained to do. And I
Yeah.
think the research is really showing now that you really need to focus on much higher weight and really exhausting that muscle so that it then rebuilds.
Yeah, I agree. And I totally, yeah, for years, Just get some light hand weights and do. And now we know, you need to pick up heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Lift heavy shit, as Dr. Tina says. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
ever listened to her, but
I have to thank you. Actually, I think were the first person I heard talk about her. So yeah, I have watched her and I take bits and pieces from her. I certainly.
And I think a lot of women are afraid, I don't want to get bulky. I don't want to bulk up. I don't want big muscles. It's so hard to build muscle. Like a bodybuilder will work for months to gain a few pounds of muscle. Like we're not going to do it just lifting heavy stuff a couple days a week. Like there's no danger of being one of these muscly people if you're only lifting a few days a week or even 3 or 4 days a week. Yeah, that's a great point. Any tips or tricks you would wish you knew when you started that you'd want to tell people about?
So I think the biggest one is one that I just discovered myself this past weekend. So I just had a DEXA scan over the weekend, and I really wish that I had done that before I started. I have a smart scale. I know you guys have a smart scale too. I think we probably have the same one or similar. And definitely not super accurate, although it was dead on for my weight, just so you know that. Weight.
Interesting.
Spot on. Literally to the ounce.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other numbers, not necessarily so much. And I've never thought that those scales were super accurate, but I certainly think, hopefully, and I still hope that directionally they are accurate. But I just wish that I had a very accurate view of my body composition before I started so that I can compare it to where I am now. And then obviously I'll wait, and after some amount of time I'll have another scan after I've right now I'm really trying to focus on just my body composition. I really, except for, as we talked about, maybe a couple pounds, which I'm not really focusing on trying to lose, but really focusing now on the resistance training and really focusing on building muscle. The best news out of my DEXA scan was that my bone density is really good, which is
great.
Fantastic. As an aging person and a 57-year-old who obviously we all, especially as women, worry about osteoporosis and things like that. So that was a fantastic thing to come out of.
So on the DEXA scan, just for people who haven't heard about it, tell us what all is measured on a DEXA scan.
So it measures your bone density. I think actually that is what it was originally developed for, if I'm not mistaken. But it is, from, again, my research, known in the industry as the gold standard for body composition, for knowing that. So it measures your total mass, obviously, your body fat percentage, your lean muscle mass percentage. It does give you a number for your visceral fat. I'm not going to probably state this super accurately, but there was a statement on my printout that they gave me that basically says I think they interpolate some data from it to get to it, but that having done it over X number of many years, and I don't know if they're finding this out through cadavers or but they have been able to validate that
their formula figures it out.
That it is fairly accurate. Your visceral fat, and then it gives you readouts of every part of your body. So I can see how much subcutaneous body fat I have in my right arm, and I can find out how much my left arm. And so some people may see a fairly significant difference. I happen to be fairly symmetrical. They're obviously not exactly the same. But yeah, my visceral fat was, at least according to them, a little bit high. But so here's an example of where, and I don't really know how the SMART scale really works, but on my SMART scale, it says that my visceral fat is 6.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say 6 pounds, and it doesn't say 6%. It just says 6. And the visceral fat number that I got from the DEXA scan is in pounds. So that it was like
Huh.
1.1 pounds,
Huh.
which is slightly elevated. They like you to be, I think, closer to 0.6. But again, I don't, and when I gave my results in my last video, I didn't say what my scale said because, like I said, I don't know
There's
that I'm
no
comparing apples
correlation.
to
Yeah.
apples. Yeah, I don't know if it is telling me I have 6 pounds or 6% or six some other value that I don't know what
Yeah.
that means. But so yeah, so it tells you that it also does it like by segments of your body. So it will do like your trunk and your abdomen and your lower half and things like that. And the place where I went to, they have an app so you can see some more visual kind of things. And that also then shows you where you are on a sliding scale and what's optimal or where you may want to go in the future if that's what you want. But yeah, it's super interesting. It's very easy. I mean, if you just lay on a table, it's a low level x-ray is what it is. And it just basically, there's a big arm over it that just very slowly scans your body. So it stops. It obviously does a scan. It moves 3 or 4 inches, does the same thing. Takes like 5 to 7 minutes. So it's super fast. You don't obviously feel anything. You just lay still on a table. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'll have to, Christopher and I have been talking about doing that. So we'll have to, do that and see what it says. Cause yeah, I have the app too. And I've been looking at the visceral fat and yeah, mine says 6. Like, what does that mean? It's in the green. So I'm like,
right.
yay. But what does that mean? But I remember when I started, and I guess the scale's good for directionally. When
Right.
you see the numbers coming down and you think, oh, okay, I must be headed in the right direction. But yeah, for anybody just starting a weight loss journey, I would say go get a DEXA scan so you can really compare before and after and really have a baseline of progress. But yeah, I'd love to know. And that's interesting about you can see if your muscles are symmetrical too. Do I need to work out my left arm harder than my right arm?
It gives you to the pound. I have this many pounds of muscle in my right
Yeah.
arm, this many pounds of fat, and so.
That's fascinating. I love the data, so I love stuff like that. Did you go down a lot of sizes, or did you have clothes that you were working to get into, or
So here's the bad part about moving to New York City.
Oh, you got
I
rid of
used
everything.
to have a lot of clothing that are probably in my current size that sat in my very large empty basement in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But when you downsize to somewhere between a third to half of the size house that you were in before and not very much storage, yeah, you get rid of a lot. It's amazing what becomes very unnecessary in your life, especially boxes of clothing that you don't fit into.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately I had one pair of shorts which I kind of use my goal shorts.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize I still had them actually. I think they were in a tub of things that had listed on my Poshmark, and so I think I kept that for some reason.
Yeah.
And then when I went through that, I found that. So actually, I did have some things in that tub that I was able to pull out. But no, I would say 90% of my clothes, like every single pair of jeans that I own, got donated. Or so yeah, I wish I had those clothes. I just replaced a lot of clothes at the Nordstrom anniversary sale this past week.
Oh, thank goodness for the Nordstrom anniversary sale.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like literally I did not have a single pair of jeans that fit me. So
Yeah,
that was
same. Christopher and I have found we love Old Navy because we have one near us and it's easy. So I think everything I'm wearing today came from Old Navy, but yeah, definitely had to replace. And I keep getting rid of stuff. I keep finding stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, got to take this to Goodwill. Here's another bag for Goodwill. And I've put some stuff on Poshmark too. Sold a few things. Do you have luck with Poshmark? What's your Poshmark handle?
It's, what is it? Oh, it's my very old username. It's KC, like Kansas City, KCMJ Mom. Because when I started it, I only had 2 children. Those are their initials.
Oh, wow.
My twins are like, well, I guess we don't count. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I made this wait. There's 6 or 7 years between my second and then the twins.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyway. So sometimes they feel left out, but it's hit or miss. I will say I took a lot of things off. I had a ton of things that, like Old Navy and H&M and things like that, that were just, even with tags on, that
Yeah. Don't
were
sell.
just sitting there. And so I basically now have only put on some kind of more like designer kind of stuff that's too
Yeah.
big.
You hate to just throw in the Goodwill bin. You're like, I need to get something for
Yeah,
this.
you're definitely not going in the Goodwill bin.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had sat out there I had some things on there for 2 years or something.
Oh,
And
wow.
every once in a while you get a hit and
Yeah.
somebody might pick it up. You see, I think it's a flurry of activity when you first post a whole bunch of things because it's hitting people's feed and whatever.
Yeah.
But kind of after that, it comes down to somebody who is looking for a specific, or I'm looking for a beige sweater in medium,
Yeah.
in cashmere or whatever. And so they'll search and maybe they'll find yours. So yeah, and especially with our limited storage here, it was, no, we're just get rid of it. So yeah, I have a few items, but I was happy to pull, like I said, a few things. But
Well, that's good.
yeah.
Any other tips or anything else you want to talk about or let people know about?
I would just say I know there's definitely pros and cons to tracking, and I certainly know for some people it can be triggering, and especially either tracking your weight or weighing. I, like you, generally weigh myself every day, but I like to see the fluctuations because I'm
Yeah.
that type of person who,
Yeah.
if I got on the scale on the end of the week and saw it be up zero point 0.2 pounds, but yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before I was down zero point 0.8, I would then be frustrated so I would
Yeah.
rather deal with that in between. But I do think it helps. I think for people who may have reached a plateau or are just not seeing maybe the success that they could see, I would just say maybe try tracking, because I think we all fall into this, and unless, like you've been through Weight Watchers and you absolutely know that this is the size of a 3-ounce chicken breast and
Yeah.
this is whatever. But
Yeah.
our portions in America are
So
so
big.
far off
Yeah.
of what is reasonable and what the nutrition label states,
Yeah.
that I think you can really fool yourself into thinking that you're only eating. I'm trying to eat some more nuts right now to, again, bump up my calories and at least get some healthy fats and also some protein. But like I said, bump up the calories. And
Yeah.
we got some pistachios the other day and I, measured them out and it was like, are you joking? Like, in a million years, this is never what I would have eaten before. And
Like 10
I think,
pistachios or
I think a lot of people, you really don't know what the
Yeah.
actual size is. And so I guess I would just recommend, again, I know for some people it's not a healthy thing and I totally get that. But if it's something that, doesn't trigger you and you are isn't going to affect you negatively, mentally negatively, I would really recommend, like I said, if you get to that kind of stage or you don't see good,
Results. Right.
maybe you think you're a really slow responder, but maybe it's not you're a slow responder, you're just
Eating
not
too much.
really in a calorie deficit. So that would
Yeah.
probably be my biggest recommendation to people.
I'm a big fan of weighing my food, and really almost from the point of view of I don't want to shortchange myself. Like I
Right.
want to make sure I'm eating the full portion, because portion sizes are so tricky, especially like you mentioned with nuts, because you think, oh, I'll just pour some in a bowl and eat. No, because it's 7 almonds is a serving of all. Like, what? Who knew? And like
Yeah.
cereal, I would always measure my cereal. Back when I used to eat cereal a lot, I don't really so much anymore.
Yeah, me
But
neither.
just measuring it, just weighing it, because a cup can be tricky if you've got like bulky items or whatever. So I would always I'd weigh my avocado, because Weight Watchers was very specific with their point count on avocado. And I'm like, what do you mean one avocado or half of avocado? They're all different sizes. Like, I got to
Yeah,
weigh this sucker. I want to make sure I'm getting my full value out of this amount of food. So
You're going to tell me it's 3 points. I'm getting all 3 points worth.
exactly.
I
But yeah,
I weigh everything still.
yeah,
I just, yeah, I just do. It
yeah,
gives me peace of mind, and I know it's accurate. And
yeah. It goes back to that like whole kind of data thing. Like, I don't really want to count calories, but I don't want to eat too much either. Like, I want to make sure I'm eating what's considered a portion. And a lot of people, I think that gets out of whack over the years. Just, you get lax on it. You say, oh, I'll just eat some more chicken. And you don't realize that maybe instead of 3 ounces of chicken, you've eaten 2 ounces of chicken, or maybe 10 ounces of chicken. You just slide one way or the other over the years. So I think it's always good to just every once in a while weigh something, measure something.
yeah, just
Yeah,
spot
that's a good
check,
point.
kind of
Yeah.
little quality control.
Yeah, quality control. Yeah, I think a lot of people tend, especially on the GLP-1s, tend to not eat enough. And that makes everything just slow. Yeah. And it's easy to do because you're like, oh, I don't feel like eating. Nothing sounds good. Maybe I'll eat a bite of this and move on. So yeah,
I've
that's
definitely
the
found
point.
that where I don't know about you, but I'll open the refrigerator because I know I should eat something. Like, I just stand there and look at it, and that's very different. Before, I could walk in the pantry and find anything under the sun that I should
Right.
have was not the best choice for me. I
Yeah.
never like to gauge foods as good or bad. I think
Right.
anything in moderation. But yeah, now it's just I can walk into the pantry, I can look in the refrigerator, and it's just I don't know.
Maybe a yogurt. Is there any yogurt in there?
Nothing
Yeah.
interests me. So I'm hoping that when I go back down, what are you down to now? What are you dosage? No,
143.
I'm sorry, your dosage.
Oh, my dosage. So I just finished coming down to 10 milligrams. I was on 10 for 4 weeks. And though I think today's Friday, today's our shot day, I'll do my first 7.5. But I want to get down to probably 5. And then I want to see if I can spread out the 5, go 2 weeks in between shots. Or I have a friend, Susie. She also lives in New York City that I interviewed.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I think she lives opposite end of the island from you, but she does 2.5 every month, I think. But she was like
a tiny, and she never went above 2.5.
She never went above 2.5. But with your feeling sick when you went to 5, I wonder if you're in that same kind of place where you just responded very well to the lower dose. And I wonder even if you could go below a 2.5 dose and maintain. There's just so much we don't know about the lower dosage and the maintenance and how to stay on. And so I'm just going to test out all these different things and see what works.
Yeah, and I know you guys are really into the news part of it. So I don't know that I've heard of really any studies that they're doing yet to talk about maintenance, to really see. It seemed they did the whatever, I can't think of what
The Surmount studies.
The Surmount studies, and then they just let them go. And then we found out that 70% of them gained whatever, all their weight back or something.
So, they weren't.
Yeah. So I would like to see that. And I think right now we're all sort of playing guinea pigs with ourselves, trying to figure this out. And even doctors have no idea what to do.
I get so frustrated when I hear people say, oh, my doctor is going to take me off of the medicine when I get to my goal weight because I won't need it anymore. It's not a cure. It's a treatment. This isn't
it's a tool
curing us per se. It's just filling in those peptides and those parts of our brains that didn't work so well before.
I'm fine if I need to stay, on some low dose or whatever for the rest of my life. I hope I could still get it because my insurance doesn't cover it. And so that's why the compound has been great. But it also, I think, like I said, the compound is great because we can maybe do what Dr. Tina says and start doing that kind of
microdosing.
Yeah. It would be nice to maybe have some data to help.
We
So-
like data. I would like to see some studies. Yeah, so we'll definitely be looking for those. Christopher loves the news. Christopher loves to report the news. I'm like, the news is great, but I just want to know
Christopher,
what
I
works.
like the news. Keep the news.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, people love the news. We're keeping the news. Don't worry. But yeah. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It's been great talking with you today. Thanks for
It's been a
coming on.
pleasure.
Please like and subscribe to our channel, The Downsized. If you'd like to come on The Downsized Dish and talk with me, send me an email to ldurham@folio28.com. We'll have that in the description for you. And we'd like to talk to people at all levels of their journey, starting in the middle, at the end, like all the people, because somebody out there is going to relate to the journey that you're on. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to catch us live Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time when we go live on our YouTube channel and take live questions and answers. That's always fun. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm Laraine Durham for The Downsized. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.